Let's go to what the bar president said. And so after that, the Ghana Bar Association, and the other day, you remember Kwabena Japan was here, and he told us, remembers the work of the Greater Accra Regional Bar. At the time, it was led by Akufo-Addo to institute this Martyrs Day. So Martyrs Day now is celebrated every year. This is the 40th anniversary of it by the Ghana Bar Association. They lead it. In the beginning, Kwabena Japan told us that the judges were too afraid to attend the event. They were afraid of Rawlings because it was scary to attend Martyrs Day in 1986, 87, and all of that because the government was still in power and everybody was scared. But later on, the judges started coming in. Justice Akwa made it a point to come in. Justice Redu, and then Charles from Benjamin and others. And so it became, today is a big event. And then their statues, thankfully to J. Kufuor's government, their statues have been restored at the courts of 3 murdered judges. This is what bar presidents told the gathering at Christ the King Church today. He said, 40 years ago on Thursday, July 1, 1982, the second anniversary of our beloved republic, the 22nd anniversary, the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation reported a news item that sounded routine and unnecessary. Initially, all judges, it was announced, were thenceforth to be provided with armed security. Since the judges already had security protection of some sort, the announcement made little impression on the general population and lawyers. Not even the most skeptical suspected that behind the news item was a repugnant episode, the horrible details of which were to unfold later. Soon it was announced officially that 3 High Court judges and a retired army officer had been abducted at night during the curfew hours of 30th June 1982. Prayers were offered for their safety. But the nation's worst fears became a reality when it was announced that Mr. Justice Fred Poku Sarkodie, Mrs. Justice Cecilia Corantin Addo, and Mr. Justice Kojo Ejapon, all judges of the High Court, and Major Sam Akwa, a retired army officer, had been most brutally and savagely murdered on the night of their abduction. This cruel, savage, and heartless act occurred at the Bondasi military range in the Accra Plains. Now, the other part that's important is, why did they have the confidence to take the abducted judges to a military base, Bondasi? Who in Ghana has control over military base? Joachim Amatekwe was not a soldier. The people at the military, if I show up today at Shire Hills that I want to come in, I will not be able to come in. You can't go to Shire Hills and say you're coming in. If, however, I am Major something, Captain something, Lieutenant Colonel something, and Shire Hills know me, and I'm a platoon commander there, I can enter. So to be able to enter Bondasi on the night, carrying non-soldiers in a military vehicle in the curfew hours, you must have top security clearance. You must. Okay, let's go on. The bodies of these precious Ghanaians had been soaked with petrol and set on fire. Divine intervention through a heavy downpour that night quenched the burning bodies. When discovered, the charred bodies had deteriorated into a state of decomposition. The nation was stunned. There was swift, widespread, and open condemnation by Ghanaians from all walks of life. Pressure mounted on the then military government for thorough investigations and punishment of the perpetrators. The Provisional National Defense Council, publicly declaring itself to be horrified by the crime and yielding to the strong public pressure, appointed a special investigations board with the former Chief Justice of Ghana, the late Mr. Justice Samuel Azukrab, as chairman to investigate the murders. By the way, Kojo Chikata also said Azukrab was part of the conspiracy against him. He said Yidana and Azukrab were part of the conspiracy against him. Let's move on. The courage and professional expertise of his main investigator, the late Chief Superintendent Jacob Jebuni Yidana, correct? This is the point that Kwekubako was making. So Chief Superintendent Jacob Jebuni Yidana was the chief investigator, and you see that the bar president describes his effort as courageous. He said the courage and professional expertise of his main investigator, the Chief Superintendent Jacob Yidana, an officer of the Ghana Police Service, will go down in history of Ghana as the qualities that helped produce one of the best criminal investigations ever undertaken in this country. Yidana is being praised by the bar president 40 years after the fact. Kojo Chikata says Yidana said that he was pointing a wrong conspiracy to him. Anyway, let's move on. The Special Investigations Board submitted a report which was published along with a government white paper. The Special Investigations Board made a number of findings leading to the prosecution of Joachim Amatekwe, a member of the PNDC, Lance Corporal Samuel Amedeka, who ran away and has still not been found, and Michael Senya and 2 ex-soldiers, Johnny Jandu and Tony Tekpo. During the trial, Lance Corporal Amedeka, Jandu, and Tekpo escaped in a jailbreak. Again. This is military rule. This is Ghana in 1983 or 82. there's military government, curfew, and soldiers are put in jail, and they are able to break away. Are they Samson, or are they? How did Peter escape from prison? You remember when Peter was in prison and the apostles prayed, and they said Peter was there, and an angel came and said, "Loose up and let's go." Is that what happened to you, Dana and Tekwe and others? Or were they Samson who was so strong that he broke everything? And if they broke something, why didn't we hear? But the story is that they escaped from prison. Okay. During the trial, Lance Corporal Amedeka, Jandu, and Tekwe escaped in a jailbreak. Amedeka fled the country, but Jandu and Tekwe were captured and they rejoined the trial. They were able to flee the country. Okay. All accused persons were found guilty and sentenced to death. Lance Corporal Amedeka was sentenced in absentia. Though Lance Corporal Tekwe was also convicted, he was not available to face the death penalty because it was alleged that some days before his trial concluded, another public tribunal had found him guilty of acts committed in connection with the jailbreak, and he had suffered death in the execution of the sentence of that tribunal. Okay, this is a brief resume of the historical background of the dreadful events we have met here today to commemorate. Our departed colleagues died in line of duty to their nation, to their countrymen, and to the rule of law. For the past 39 years, the bar and the bench have mourned the death of these martyrs of the rule of law. In response to the calls for reconciliation by the National Reconciliation Commission and biblical injunction that we should forgive those who trespass against us, we have forgiven the wrongdoers for their cowardly and evil deeds. But we still remember these martyrs of the rule of law and will continue to celebrate them. The bar and the bench acknowledge and proclaim those good qualities and deeds for which they were murdered. Justices Fred Poku-Sarkodie, Cecilia Krantin Ado, and Kojo Ejeye Japan, the bar, the bench, and the people of Ghana salute you. You died in the line of duty. You performed your duty as judges without fear or favor. You stood for the rule of law, but your assassins hated what you stood for and murdered you. They could not eliminate what you stood for. Your monuments stand in the forecourt of the Supreme Court building in constant reminder of the good qualities required of a judge. Judges, magistrates, and lawyers will continue to draw inspiration from the bold and courageous manner in which you administered justice in those challenging times. We will continue to celebrate you, lest we forget what you lived for and what you died for. Today, 30th June, marks Martyrs' Day, a day set aside to commemorate the bestial and gruesome murder of three aforementioned High Court judges, together with a retired army officer. For the past 39 years, the bar, the bench, together with other well-wishers, have collaborated to religiously and solemnly mourn the callous murders of these martyrs of the rule of law by making this day as if our lives depended on it. So we still remember these martyrs of the rule of law and will continue to celebrate them. The bar, the bench acknowledge their sacrifices and will proudly continue to proclaim them. Their names, he says, are forever etched in our minds. And there's a short video of what happened at the Christ the King Church this morning. Officials, Godfrey Dami, I believe, is that? No, that's Philip Addison, I think. Members of the Ghana Bar Association, the families of the murdered judges. I believe this is the arrival of President Akufo-Addo, who joined the bar and the bench. He's being welcomed to the events by the president of the Ghana Bar Association, with him the learned Chief Justice, and there they go shaking hands and getting into the room. I see somebody like Akoto Ampao, but that's the Christ the King Church, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, family picture there in the church, and all the lawyers, young and old, listening to the proceedings at the Christ the King Church. Okay, let's come back to the studio.